Well, Ann Coulter, of course, best-selling author, columnist, got a big new book out. Just came out yesterday. It's called In Trump We Trust. You can go to Amazon. You can get it. You can go to AnnCoulter.com and get it. Ann Coulter, how you doing?
Fine, thanks. How are you? It's like I haven't talked to you since yesterday.
Oh, yeah, but a lot's happened. As I'm watching
I know.
Hardball, there you were with Chris Matthews. I like being on that show. He's pretty good for all his crazy beliefs.
No, I know. What's interesting about Chris Matthews is I never believed he really cared about the working class until Trump. I never believed he was massively more insightful about politics than, well, your run-of-the-mill TV journalist until Trump. I think he's the only one who never, I mean, I have this, as you know, the Geniuses appendix in my book, In Trump We Trust, going through about 6 months of all these political savants sneering at the idea that Trump would ever be the nominee. He has a better chance of cameoing in Home Alone and so on and so forth. And Matthews is a Democrat. I'm sure he's going to vote for Hillary, but he never dismissed Trump's appeal.
No, he seemed to understand from the beginning that Trump had a lot of talent and he had tapped into something.
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised that he summarized Trump's appeal so beautifully last night. And this is the theme of my book, that it's Trump's issues. It's not his personality. It's not that we wanted a reality TV star. It's immigration, it's trade, and it's no more wars.
Yeah, well, it's the issues, obviously, and also straightening out the economy. But I think people also respect the fact that he's got a blunt mouth. He'll say what he thinks. There's a toughness you sense in him that he won't back down no matter what Congress does or whatever. He'll keep fighting. And I think people also realize he probably is a hell of a negotiator.
Yes. No, he has. I mean, it's been interesting to me because all I care about, or the main thing I care about, I would throw in trade and no more war as, also part of the same. We're going to put America's interests first, which oddly enough is popular with American voters, whether it's on trade, whether it's on the border, whether it's on sending Americans to die on this, endless peacekeeping mission around the world. But the other issues that aren't as important to me, and even the personality, I mean, as I've described, at first I thought the personality was more of a deficit. Now I realize, no, you have to have that kind of personality to take such awesome issues and not back down.
Yeah, also, nobody in history ever took more incoming fire than Trump. Look at the last few weeks.
Oh, absolutely right.
If you didn't have that personality, how the hell would you ever get through that?
No, that's absolutely right. Whenever, as I say, I think about, when he was first running, why couldn't it be Mitt Romney taking these positions? Mitt Romney couldn't have taken these positions.
Mitt Romney, you know how many apologies Mitt Romney would have put out already? You remember when he said he had 2 Cadillacs? He was apologizing for a month over that. No,
I know. I described that. Trump ended that pretty quickly when he was asked by Mark Halperin early on in the campaign. But do you think you're going to be attacked like Mitt Romney was for being a rich man? And Trump's response was, Romney wasn't that rich.
Well, you forgot the second half. He said, I have a Gucci store worth more than him. Which is true. The Gucci store in Trump Towers appraised at $400 million. And now you know why Romney went after him so hard.
Yes. No, I do think it has more to do with that than anything substantive. Because, all the things Romney is attacking Trump for are all the reasons I liked Romney. Immigration and trade. Romney was the best we ever had on those.
Yeah, but, hey, had Romney been the host of The Apprentice, it would have been canceled after 10 weeks. It just isn't tough enough.
The main reason I wish Romney hadn't attacked Trump is I wanted it to be a Trump-Romney ticket. I would have liked Romney as the vice president. He could do all the boring stuff, deal with the Fed, deal with Wall Street, and let Trump do the fun stuff like building the wall.
I think Mike Pence is better for that because Pence is a real government guy. He knows how to get stuff done in a government.
Maybe that's right. I mean, the downside, and I was unfairly characterized someplace or other. I forget what I was reading. I mean, I have given publicly given suggestions and constructive criticism to our savior Donald Trump before, but one of the examples was Mike Pence, and I don't think I specifically singled out Pence. Maybe I did a little bit in Twitter, but it was only when it was a rumor. Once he was actually the nominee, I shut my trap.
Now, you're going to like Mike Pence. He'll be fine. Now,
yeah, but I wanted something more than fine. That's the issue. But I won't be lured into doing what I just said I didn't do.
Name any vice president ever who was more than fine. There's never a great vice president.
I'm thinking.
No. Even Reagan.
I liked Cheney more than Bush.
But Cheney, you might have liked what he said. Cheney couldn't get anything done properly. Came to executing anything. Cheney wasn't that good.
He took the country to an unpopular war.
But he didn't execute it very well.
Well, I think we've learned that in retrospect, and I think this is something that's worth mentioning. I mean, when I talk about the Trump big issues, the third one being, don't constantly pursue endless, pointless wars. I do blame Obama for the failure of Iraq and not the war itself yet. And still, I think what we've learned, and obviously, if we come under attack or if there's some sort of emergency, I don't think anyone has any doubt that Trump would respond forcefully. But I do think we've learned from the Iraq War that you can't have these gentle, hygienic wars with a small footprint and, we must avoid civilian casualties at all costs. Democracies will not put up with long wars. So, if we have to go to war in the future, I like the Trump approach, bomb the you-know-what out of them.
Yeah. Hey, I like the fact that Trump is now calling the New York Times the Mexican newspaper.
That's fantastic.
It's owned by a Mexican, the New York Times.
That's a whole chapter in Adios America on Carlos Slim, the New York Times' sugar daddy.
Yeah, the New York Times is owned by a Mexican now, and a lot of people don't know that.
Carlos Slim bailed the New York Times out of bankruptcy. It would not exist but for Carlos Slim. Carlos Slim makes his money, and he's often listed, there are always competitors, but often listed as the richest man in the world. And how does he make his money? From illegal immigration and legal immigration.
Well, also he was
illegal immigration to the United States. How does he do that? Because he controls the cell phone monopoly in Mexico. It's an utterly corrupt country. And from remittances. Carlos Slim's businesses constitute 40% of the Mexican stock market. So all of that money being sent by mostly illegal aliens back to Chiapas, all of that money is being spent on Carlos Slim products. He would be. I mean, what does a monopoly matter if you're in Burundi? Luckily for Mexico, they're next to I would say the wealthiest country in the world. I'm not sure that's true anymore. So all this money gets sent back to Mexico, making Carlos Slim rich. So the owner of the New York Times is the richest man in the world because of illegal immigration destroying our country.
Yeah, he is he's the current owner of the New York Times. Hey, every time she has a new book out, Ann Coulter's new book is In Trump We Trust. You should get it. Just came out yesterday. Go to Amazon or any bookstore or whatever. There's always one thing in your book that sets off the crazy Matt Lauers and all these liberals that go after you for. Have we found it yet, what it's going to be in this book?
Well, I'm sorry to report that there is one thing I've been wrong about in my life. There may be more than one, but this is the one I know of. I always said that it was just strange how liberals can't learn. Everyone else can learn. Amoebas can learn. Children learn. Don't put your hand on that hot pot, or it'll get burnt. Liberals apparently can learn, because I think it was after my 8th book they realized, going after her never works out for us.
Yeah, they always pick one.
People always side with her over us, and I think that's what they're about to discover with Donald Trump too. But it's been a few books since they've done that crazy what they're doing to Trump right now: rip one tiny little joke out of context, lie to people about it, superimpose this insane psychopathic meaning on it, and tell everyone that's what Ann Coulter said or that's what Donald Trump said.
Yeah. So, it's early. Maybe they haven't had a chance to really read it yet.
Yes, but it is available also in Audible, and I read it myself to make it easy for the media.
Oh, my God, that is the worst thing, having to read those talking books. You sit there for like 8 hours recording that, right?
Well, I enjoy it because I like my books and I think they're funny and I know exactly how I want them to be read. And I've gotten better at it since I didn't read, there was one book I didn't read, High Crimes and Misdemeanors. But this is now my 11th book I've read. The first 3, it is really hard if you don't, because, I don't read out loud for a living. I don't have little kids. I don't even read bedtime stories. So if you don't read out loud, try it sometime, listeners. It's harder than you'd think. Normally when you read, it's not like you're mouthing the words. Your eye is skipping ahead. It's so hard to read out loud if you don't do it.
Oh, I do it for a living, and for a minute it's not easy. Try it for 8 hours, and then you come back the next day and do another 8 hours of it.
That's true, but I noticed that people like to have me reading my own books, and I like to be reading. So the last 3 books, I think, I voluntarily read the entire book myself. Usually the author herself only reads an edited version, but I didn't want anyone to miss anything.
Oh. Hey, we're out of time, but you're doing a book signing, right? What's the first book signing?
At the Met Club in New York City. I think it's 82nd and 3rd or 4th or something. Oh, and I want to go to this book signing. It's this Sunday, 3 p.m. You can find it on my webpage.
Now, wait, you can't just show up.
I'm going to have to take the red eye home because I'm doing a roast for Rob Lowe. I'm flying out to L.A., taking the red eye home just so I can make this book signing.
Okay, but this Sunday book signing, it's in Manhattan, but you got to have tickets. You can't just show up. But you go to AnnCoulter.com. You can pick up the tickets there, AnnCoulter.com, and make sure you get a brand new book, In Trump We Trust, just released yesterday. Go to Amazon, or you go to AnnCoulter.com. You get everything there. And Ann Coulter, thanks for being with us.
Good to talk to you, Mark Simone. Bye-bye.
All right, take care.